When most people think about Muslims and Jews, conflict comes to mind, but that's not the full story. Their relationship is long, complex, and filled with both moments of tension and periods of deep friendship. For centuries, these two communities have lived side by side, sharing neighborhoods, markets, and even dreams. It's easy to forget that Jews once found safety among Muslims. After centuries of persecution in Europe, many Jewish families traveled east, seeking shelter in Muslim lands. They brought their languages, their skills, and their hopes with them, and they found more than just tolerance, they found welcome. This shared history is not a fairy tale. It's recorded in books, poetry, and the architecture of ancient cities. Jewish scholars thrived in Muslim lands. Muslim doctors worked with Jewish colleagues. They built societies that valued knowledge, trade, and respect. But history is never simple. There were hard times too. Yet the legacy of coexistence is real, and it matters today more than ever. Let's talk about the golden age of Al-Andalus, Muslim Spain. Here, Muslims, Jews, and Christians worked together. They built libraries, they studied science. Philosopher Moses Maimonides, a Jew, wrote his best works in Arabic under Muslim rule. It was a time of flowering for both faiths. In the Ottoman Empire, Jews fleeing European violence were welcomed. Sultan Bayezid II famously accepted Jewish refugees from Spain after the 1492 expulsion. Jewish communities in Istanbul, Salonika, and elsewhere flourished. They became doctors, advisors, and merchants. They helped shape the cities around them. Daily life was intertwined. People celebrated each other's festivals. They shared food and music. Synagogues stood next to mosques. The call to prayer would ring out, and soon after, the shofar would sound. This was more than tolerance, it was harmony. These stories remind us that peace is possible. For centuries, Muslims and Jews proved it. They weren't just neighbors, they were partners in building civilization. But history took a sharp turn. As Muslim empires weakened, European colonial powers moved in. The British, French, and others drew new borders. They imposed their own rules. They divided communities that had lived together for centuries. Suspicion and distrust began to grow. The fall of the Ottoman Khilafah in 1924 changed everything. Power shifted. New governments rose, often with Western backing. Old protections disappeared. Policies favored certain groups over others. The seeds of conflict were sown. Colonial powers used divide and rule. They pitted Muslims and Jews against each other to keep control. They promised land and power to some, while denying rights to others. The social fabric that held these communities together began to unravel. This wasn't just about religion, it was about power, resources, and control, and it set the stage for the conflicts we see today. It's important to be clear, Judaism and Zionism are not the same. Judaism is an ancient faith. Zionism is a modern political movement. Many Jews around the world do not support the actions of the Israeli state. Some even protest loudly against it. The rise of Zionism in the late 19th and early 20th centuries was fueled by European anti-Semitism. Many Jews sought a homeland where they could be safe, but the land chosen was already home to Palestinian Arabs, Muslims and Christians alike. This created new tensions. Today, Jewish voices for peace are everywhere, from New York to Tel Aviv. They march for Palestinian rights, they speak against violence, they remind the world, being Jewish does not mean supporting war or occupation. When we talk about conflict, we must separate politics from faith. Blaming all Jews for the actions of a state is wrong, just as blaming all Muslims for the actions of a few is wrong. Muslim societies face many challenges today. Wars have destroyed cities from Baghdad to Gaza. Sanctions have crippled economies. Refugees have crossed deserts and seas, searching for safety. But the struggle is not only on the battlefield. Muslims are also targeted by propaganda. Media outlets often portray them as violent or backward. TV shows, movies, and news reports repeat these images. They shape how people think, even if they have never met a Muslim in their lives. Economic pressure is another weapon. Sanctions, boycotts, and trade deals can weaken entire nations. Sometimes even food and medicine are used as tools of control. The goal is clear: to force Muslims to accept unjust terms or lose hope. But Muslims are more than victims. They are resilient. Communities work together to rebuild, to educate, and to resist injustice with dignity. The struggle today is not just for land or resources, it's a battle for hearts and minds. Media is a powerful weapon. Headlines can make heroes or villains. Photos can twist the truth. When a Muslim resists occupation, they are often labeled a terrorist. When others do the same, they are called freedom fighters. This double standard is everywhere. It shapes how the world sees Muslims and Jews and how they see each other. Education is key. We must teach our children the real history. We must question what we see on the news. We must look for the truth behind the headlines. Lies are loud, but truth is patient. This is also an ideological conflict. It's about dignity, justice, and the right to live in peace. It's about resisting hatred with knowledge and compassion. So what can we do? Muslims must unite, not just in politics but in spirit. Unity does not mean everyone thinks the same. It means standing together for justice, truth, and mercy. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, taught that prayer is powerful. So is patience. So is action. Peaceful resistance works. History proves it. From Gandhi to Martin Luther King Jr., change has come through courage and nonviolence. Muslims must use their voices, their art, and their prayers to build a better world. Education is a shield. Prayer is a sword. Truth is the light that guides us. We must teach, learn, and act with wisdom. We must refuse to hate. And we must remember that God sees everything, even when the world does not. The Quran says, "But they plan, and Allah plans. And Allah is the best of planners." This is our hope. No lie lasts forever. Truth and prayer are stronger than any propaganda. The future is not written, instead we write it together with faith, courage, and love.